Alright, going to give you a quick little garden tour. Keep in mind that this garden is a work in progress. In other words, I am adding more and more beds to this every year. It's going to be a lot bigger than it is, but we're already growing a pretty good amount of food out of it. But I have plans to make it bigger. Just, it takes time, money to build those beds because I got to get some dirt to fill them in. Unfortunately, we don't have a bucket on the tractor right now, so I'm shoveling all of that dirt into these garden beds by hand. Shovel them into a wheelbarrow, and then I put a board on the end of the bed, and I wheel them up and dump them in, wheelbarrow by wheelbarrow. So it takes a lot of time. Someday, I plan on getting a bucket onto that tractor because we'd have so many uses for it. But in the meantime, it works. So every year I try to build a couple more beds to add on to this. We also because we're on such a smaller piece of land here, trying to pack as much as we can into basically about 2 acres. Just trying to set things up the right way is a big part of it. I guess to utilize the land as efficiently as we can. So we were still trying to figure out where we're going to do horse pasture on this side. But I still wanted to at least give us enough garden space. So I think we got that kind of figured out, but now it's just a matter of building more beds. So let's come over and take a look. So you can see right now we got some sunflowers up there. If I get them in the right light there. These were some older seeds that I had. I just figured I'd see if they'd come up. And I just planted them at the very edge of this bed here. And they're just kind of like a fall mix, so you get a lot of different colors besides just your classic yellow sunflower. They got some really nice, like really pretty orange colors to them, and some like maroon kind of, just some really pretty colors. And I had cucumbers here that were growing up the sunflowers. They were growing up the sunflower stalk some, and then I also put in this trellis for them to grow up. You see there's one little weird one left, but you can see the cucumber plant is done now. It's past its prime and has died off. Let's see, also in here I have a bunch of beets. I plant everything really thick and then thin it out as I go, but we got some nice beets down in there, and I love beets. We both do. I'd love to plant a lot more next year. Here you see we got carrots. We got some sunflower petals falling in here. Same thing with the carrots. I plant them really thick and then thin them as I go. Real quick before we get into the rest of the garden, you can see this really janky fence job right now with this chicken wire. I need to build an entire fence around this whole garden, which is the plan and is on the schedule, and by next season I will have that done. So this year I just threw this up real quick because I was working more on horse fence, and just enough to keep the chickens out from the beds. Now they can still grab some stuff off of the sides, and some tomatoes, which I don't mind with the tomatoes because we have so many of them. Planted extra for the chickens. But the deer have been coming and eating some of this stuff, which is a shame. Like you can see, they've been eating the beans here. I don't think they actually eat the beans as much as the actual plant. They put a hurting on it, but it didn't matter too much. I mean, it's just loaded with beans. And I just put in, just got some sticks and put in a trellis. They're purple potted pole beans. And like I said, the deer eat the plants some, but it hasn't affected anything with the beans. I actually even saw, there's even still flowers. Lots of flowers coming. Look at all these little beans still coming. So as long as we don't get any kind of frost anytime soon, which it doesn't look like in the future forecast, we got a lot of beans still that we're eating, and we've been eating on them every day. So over here we have some jalapeno plants, and look at that. This is all fresh growth here. They're still flowering. Here we are in mid-September, and fresh growth on them, but there's a bunch of jalapenos down in there. There was a hot banana pepper plant here, but I think we ate most of those. Looks like they're putting out a few more. We'll see if we get some more. Some jalapenos. We got Brussels sprouts here. And we have a lot of Brussels sprouts on there. Another thing that we really love is Brussels sprouts, so start eating on those. I think I have six Brussels sprout plants in here, jammed in with these peppers, and then cherry tomatoes, which are just growing like crazy. Been eating the heck out of those. And like I said, I planted a whole bunch of extra for the chickens too. But there was a lot of these volunteers that came up from last year, ones that I just didn't get to. We had so many growing, and a bunch of them sprouted early in the garden beds. So a lot of those I took and I dug them up and put them in pots. Planted a bunch of extra pots of them around here just for the chickens, honestly. And then I got rid of some. I sold some. I gave some away. So there's never a lack of cherry tomatoes around here. And they're so good. I just eat them all throughout the day. You can see they're looking really good. And again, this janky fence, I hate it, but it has worked as far as chickens, and that was really my main concern. Last year, I used that chicken wire and put it around these beds, and the chicken just jumped over it. It didn't work. And I didn't want to put in a bunch of T-posts, especially in this rock-solid ground, before I knew exactly what our plan was going to be. Okay, so over in this bed, we have some peas, which, again, the stinking deer have been eating those a little bit. So I'm starting to try to train them to go up this way. I'm going to make another little trellis and let them come up like this. But I planted, this is a second crop of peas, like a fall crop, and they're doing well. And then we have a whole bed of various greens in here, too. Hi, kitty. There's our kitty. Hi, kitty. Hi, raccoon. You coming to say hi? You're a good kitty. Yes, you are. You're a good kitty. You say hi, kitty. Oh, kitty. Yes, that's how you say hi. Anyways, whole bed of greens right here. Anyways, so we got a whole bed of greens here, along with our peas. And these greens, there's a whole bunch of different kinds, but I planted these late July or very beginning of August, actually, because this whole bed was full of garlic. We planted a whole bed of garlic, we do every year. And then once I pull the garlic out, I plant greens or something else in it that could be for a fall crop. And this bed is doing great with the greens. I just love having fresh greens. But we got Swiss chard. This is like a rainbow Swiss chard. Different kinds of just like leaf greens, like a butter crunch, some romaine. They call that like crisp mint romaine. There's a patch of that there and there. Then we have like I guess this was like a red romaine type lettuce. Again, everything super thick. I plant it and just pick it as we go. And I'll plant it and pick it like leaf greens. Some radishes. I have some, this is Thai basil I threw in there, which is getting crowded, but enough will come up. Have some other just regular, like Italian basil right here that I planted. And I scatter this stuff all throughout the beds too, all around. You can see in the tomatoes over there, there's basil. And where it comes up, it comes up. And then these beds are deep enough that I can plant stuff super close together. Let's see, I planted some dill late in the season. We'll see if it does anything, but it's some dill right here. Planted that a little bit later. So then over here we have more peppers. These are all of the sweet banana peppers, which I really do love. And they are looking really good. Pretty good, like really nice size. These did so good this year. See if I can get one of these and show you. But yeah, beautiful, nice size on them. Just really nice peppers, and they're full. And look at this again, they're continuing to flower. I don't know if they'll develop into anything before it gets too cold, but so far it's been nice. And then of course some beautiful tomatoes. Look at this, we're just going to be eating tomatoes every day. I feel like I've been eating tomato sandwiches every day, BLTs. I made some awesome just chicken with tomatoes. I just seared off the chicken yesterday and then threw a bunch of these tomatoes in cast iron pan and cooked it in the oven, slow cooked it. It was so good. I think what we're going to do is make some salsa with some of these extras. We do eat a lot of green tomatoes too. Basil, like I said, just have this kind of scattered all throughout the garden. But they're looking good. That is asparagus over here. So this was asparagus that has gone up and has obviously flowered and then gone to seed. You can see here, these ones are still, just have some flowers, or just the ends of the flowers that are going to be turning into the seed. But now this asparagus patch, I planted it, see, I put those crowns in this would be that second year. So a year ago I planted the crowns fresh, and you really don't want to harvest asparagus. You want to really let them establish and give them, maybe 3 years or so before you start really picking. But after that, if we maintain this bed for the next, 15, 20 plus years, we will be having a wonderful patch of asparagus. So we sacrificed a whole bed for that. And I'm super excited. We can start picking a little of it next year, because it's coming in really nice. And this birdhouse I put up, I put this one up here this year. Last year we had one up, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but on the telephone pole over there. And we had a nesting pair of bluebirds, which I was so excited about, because we are tucked in the middle of the woods here. It's just very big woods and kind of unbroken timber around here. But once we cleared more of this land out, like in the past, right where I'm standing now, I'd be standing in woods, the same kinds of woods here. But we cleared all this out, and it's brought in some different birds and just changed the habitat a little. But anyways, this box this year, we had the same pair of bluebirds come back. They had a successful hatch of 4 nestlings, their first brood, and then they actually had a second brood here this year, which I was so excited about. It was just so fun to watch them. Love seeing the bluebirds around. Just really exciting. So I get excited about that stuff. So the beans there, this patch here, it did about half the bed strawberries, which now they're getting overcrowded by this arugula and some greens, which I need to pick. I wanted to let some of it go to seed here, which it did. I'll pick these seeds off so we have them for next year. But now I want to rip these out, and the rest of this will be strawberries. Let these strawberries spread. But next year I'm going to make a whole nother bed of strawberries, and we're going to plant a ton of strawberries because we love those too. That's for the raised beds that I've built so far. That's what we have. In the raised beds, I did them, they're 4 foot by 8 foot, and they're almost 3 foot deep, which gives us plenty of room. And I did raised beds here because number one, I did it because this soil is just solid rock. It's not really soil. It's just rocky as can be here. And just tilling it and trying to go through all that work is just not worth it. So it was more worth it to me to take the energy and the time and the money to build these raised beds and fill them with dirt. And then we have so many chickens, and we have the horses. We have a lot of compost material that we can add to these every year. And so over here, there's going to be more raised beds. I can fit probably 2, maybe 3 right here where I have this stuff. And then I'll have more over that way too, I'll show you. But right here, what I did this year is I had these pots, because before we owned here, I was just planting everything in pots. I didn't want to invest in building beds. So I still have all these pots, and I thought, man, I had some really old zucchini seeds and some yellow squash, some patty pan, like basically a lot of old summer squash seeds, like old, like probably, I don't know, probably close to 5 years old. And I thought, you know what? I'll just fill up some of these pots and plant them and see what happens. And I did this late in the year too. And they are doing awesome. Now this zucchini, I have to pick it, but obviously the chickens got to it a little bit. But it's a beautiful zucchini. We've been eating a lot of zucchinis lately. And you can see there's more on there. And they're getting good and pollinated from our bees, which are right there. We have These were like a free seed that, these were also old, but they were a free seed that they gave us years ago when I ordered a bunch of seeds. They're a different type of zucchini, so be curious to see how those taste. Never had them. And we have some yellow squash here. I was just amazed that all these, the seeds came up. Not every seed. I put like 5 seeds in each pot. But one out of all of them, at least, made it. Some beautiful yellow squash we got coming. Look at this little funky one. It's like a Siamese twin yellow squash. It'll taste the same, right? So this one is a patty pan, and I did the same thing. I planted a bunch of seeds in this pot, probably like 6 seeds, and nothing was happening. Nothing was happening. All 3 of these, you know, started coming up. I at least got like 1 or 2 to sprout up out of there, which I was excited about because I didn't know, you know, older seeds. I also didn't know the second half of that because I planted them so late. It was like the beginning of August or very late July. Not long after I planted those Ridron, I planted those greens in the garlic bed. But I didn't know. I was pumped they came up. I'm pumped we're actually getting fruit off of them, you know. This late in the year, we just lucked out. That could change if we had an earlier frost and I didn't cover them or whatever. But nothing. Then eventually this thing sprouted up. I was so excited, and we're actually now starting to get some little patty pan squash on there. I think there's another one right down in there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, right there. So we'll see if they get big enough to actually harvest some, but I'm excited. I love all summer squash, or squash in general, but pretty excited because I didn't think that one was going to come up. But yeah, you never know. Old seeds, like, just if you have extra dirt, throw them in a pot of dirt and see what happens. Okay, so again over here, eventually these are going to be nice big beds, just like the beds down there. But in the meantime, again, I had extra seeds, older seeds, and decided I'd plant them. These were more of the volunteer cherry tomatoes that came up that I just kind of left for chickens. This one's kind of fallen over, but there's a lot of tomatoes on there. Chicken's just been eating them. Then I have 4 pots of poblano peppers, which are doing great. Even in these little pots, I mean, they're loaded with peppers. Looking good. And then some jalapenos. Now this jalapeno plant pretty much is dead. Our one horse, when he was out grazing around out here, he came over and he messed with it and destroyed it, which is a shame because it was loaded with jalapenos, just like this one. This heirloom variety of jalapenos that I've grown the last couple years just does awesome. So I start everything from seed, and everything we grow is all heirloom. That way I can make sure I can save the seeds, you know, from year to year. I've just always done it that way. I really enjoy it. I love gardening, and I'm excited to expand this garden every year. It's going to get a little bit better. Of course, we have our bees right here. Thought it would be appropriate to put them in the garden area. Next year we'll have at least another hive. This one is doing so good, which I know I need to get some update videos out on that. But this hive is just booming. For their first year, starting from a package, they're just doing great. So if they make through the winter and they start really booming early next spring, I'm going to try to do a split from them because I really like the queen in this hive. Their genetics, they're pretty mild bees and just super prolific. I mean, really hardy. She's just always laying and laying and laying. We've had so many hatches coming off of this throughout the whole spring, summer, and fall. Just a really strong hive. So I'm excited going into winter. That whole middle box is completely full of honey. Completely packed full of capped honey, which I will leave for them. And if they fill up this top super, then we can take that. But otherwise, the rest is all for them through the winter. So yeah, there's the garden for you. And stay tuned over the years. It's going to get a lot bigger. So I'll kind of show you the idea here that I'm going to have for fence. We're going to put a fence that kind of right where I'm standing is going to be the corner. It's going to go all the way up to almost where the grass is like a browner color. And that's also going to go out this way, so I can put another bed or some beds right here, or some berry bushes. I'm going to try to keep most of that stuff consolidated so it can all be fenced in. But it's going to go up through here. Hi, kitty. And side note, these are all some cut stone, and I have more cut stone over here. I've started piling them over here because in the front of this garden and along in different various areas, I'm going to make some little garden beds out of this cut stone and plant some flowers and some herbs and stuff like that in here. That's my plan with those, and they are a pain in the butt to move around. They're heavy. But anyways, the fence is going to go up, you know, right up here. We can kind of walk it. Here we got some blueberry bushes. There's all blueberry bushes right here. I think I have 7 total blueberry bushes. There's another very little one right there, but there's going to be, I'm going to plant 2 more next year, so we'll have 9, at least for now. That fence is going to come all the way up like this, and somewhere up in here, we're going to have the corner of it, and then it's going to go down along that way, just a little ways. It's going to cut down along the back side of the bees, and then down along the other side there and back around. So all this space right in here, like up to the back side of the bees, is all going to be space that I can utilize for more garden beds, berry bushes, maybe some more fruit trees. I'm just going to jam pack it with all kinds of stuff like that so we can be growing a ton of food. And then this, from this other side, is all going to be horse pasture again. That will continue, but that's a little bit later project. I got the go-ahead that I can work on garden fence before I do this next section of horse pasture, which I'm excited about. But it's gonna be a lot of space. Should be able to grow a lot of food. It's a lot of work to get things going. Of course, it's work to maintain it, but once they're established, it's a lot less work than getting everything started. So I'm excited about that. Building the fence and getting this, just having this be so much better next year. I'm not going to be able to fill all this in by next year. I just won't. It's every year it'll be a little more. But my goal is to at least build maybe another 3 big beds, 3 to 4 depending on time and all that stuff. So I'm excited to just make it bigger and a lot more. It's just going to give us a lot more food. So here we have a bunch of fruit trees that it planted within the last 2 years, I guess. This is a pear tree here. This is also a pear tree, which actually for its only 2nd year, look at that. There's a nice pear right there. Couple pears on it, but a couple nice ones. Pretty excited. That one up there is a peach tree. Another peach tree there, and then we got a couple apple trees in here. And had to put this fence up because, of course, the deer were in there really putting a hurting on the apple trees, just destroying them. So hopefully they come back enough. The other thing about this here is this whole area inside this fence is we started planting wildflowers. So we've had a lot come up. You can see there's some yellow ones and stuff in there. But every year, this whole entire bank is all wildflowers, and we're adding to that every year. So that's the idea, is have all this be the fruit trees and just tons of wildflowers. And then on the other side of the house, we have a couple other banks that are lots of wildflowers. We just want a lot of pollinators here for the bees and all the good pollinators. A couple other apple trees over there too. There's one right there, and there's another one right there. Just kind of scattered them about. Something cool I forgot to mention this morning is I don't think I did, but we're getting another chicken coop. So that one I'm just going to use as a movable coop. This one's just backup for when we have broody hens and small chicks or an injured bird or whatever. This one we are getting rid of, and we're getting a nice big, I think it's an 8x10, or it may even be 8x9 because we had them build it with the nesting boxes out, kind of like this. And the same Amish guy who built our barn built the coop, and we actually have that chicken coop coming tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. So I have a busy morning tomorrow because I got to let everybody out. I got to move that somewhere out of the way, and then the broody hen and her 2 chicks got to go in that for the day. And then I got to figure out how to get everybody into the coop tomorrow night, which should be interesting. And I also got to build perches in it before then too. So it's going to be a busy day tomorrow. Oh, yeah, that's a big bite. There you go. How's that? Homegrown pear. Like that. There you go. Hey, you want one? Come here. Come here. Well, you gotta come over here. Here, bud. Good boy. Here you go. Good boy. Okay, you can just take the whole thing, I guess. Good boy. Pretty good? Yes. Oh, look what we have out here. Mama and her little chickies. Just started letting them wander out of their run for the day because those chicks are growing fast. It won't be long we'll be able to integrate into the new coop when we get it. All right, everybody. As some of you may have already noticed, I changed the name of my channel. Changed it from Backwoods Pursuits to Birchstead Outdoors. And there's a couple different reasons I did that. The first one is there's another YouTube channel called Backwoods Pursuit instead of Pursuits. And that's just too close. I don't like having basically the same name as another channel, and it has confused. I know a couple people over the years have mentioned that, so that's one of the reasons. But the bigger reason really is because with the new content that I'm kind of putting in, some of the homesteading and vlog type content, I thought that a channel name change was appropriate, and I thought Birchstead Outdoors sounds good. That's what we call our homestead here, and it still kind of encompasses everything that I want to put out as far as content-wise. I'm still going to have the content that I've done in the past, all the, the hunting and fishing and foraging and all that kind of stuff is still going to be a part of the channel, but I'm just going to add more of this in, so a channel name change just seemed like the right thing to do. So Birchstead Outdoors it is. I hope you guys dig it, and I hope it doesn't confuse you too much either. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I just figured it was appropriate to show you a little homestead tour, meet some of the animals, show you some of the things we've done and projects that we still are working on and have to do. There's always something to do, that's for sure. And speaking of that, we got the new chicken coop coming tomorrow, so I got to get ready for that. And then next week we have a new roof being put on the house. We're getting the old porch tore off and putting a new porch on. So lots of projects. I got to finish this fence right here, and I want to get that done, especially before hunting season, because that's right around the corner, and I want to be out in the woods as much as I can. I still got things to do, but I'll be out there as much as I can, trying to get these things knocked out. So yeah, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Again, really appreciate you watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe button. But, of course, you don't have to. If you don't want to, you can just enjoy the videos. And if you want to be notified when I drop new videos out, hit that notification bell. Other than that, again, going to just wrap this up. I really appreciate you guys watching. Have some more content coming down the line, so stay tuned. And I will catch you in the next Birchstead Outdoors video. Another reason I need to get that garden fence up, besides for just chickens, is these horses. He has eaten some of the stuff and messed up that pepper plant. Oh. Well, thanks for that poo. That's cute. No, don't even think about it. Don't you even think about it.